What we need is not more medication, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge. This is Exposé coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria, every Monday on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook simultaneously. And I'm your regular host, Tony Akinyemi. Don't forget, what we need is not more medication, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge.
Hello and welcome. This is Exposé with Tony Akinyemi, your Monday evening tonic on tips for health, wellness, well-being, and longevity. And I'm your regular host. Tony Akinyemi is still my name. In this new season on Exposé, we are starting on yet another series, and that will be teas and spices. Teas and spices. It's going to be a very interesting one, so keep a date with us every Monday, 8 p.m. West African time. Again, you must understand that what we need is not more medication, but more education. For the best prescription is knowledge. Now, as we talk about teas in particular, I would say that I was never a tea person. I mean, growing up, maybe the best that I was exposed to as a child were beverages, cocoa-based beverages like Milo, Ovaltine, Bonvita, and what have you. That was all that I was used to, and maybe I loved it at that time simply because of, the taste, okay? But growing up, I didn't continue really enjoying beverages and teas. I didn't really fancy them. Particularly because I have lived all my life in the tropics in West Africa, specifically in Nigeria, Western Nigeria, where the weather is very humid, very warm, and you're always sweaty all day long. So what do you need hot tea for? And I wasn't used to iced tea either, until I started traveling outside of Nigeria to Western cultures. That was when I first of all came across what is known as iced tea. All right, so I was never a tea person. And as an adult, I never used to indulge in teas. Maybe I took coffee as a beverage when I was in high school, just because of the caffeine to keep me awake to read far into the night. I actually abused coffee in my high school days. If I knew what I now know, I probably would not have done that. Okay? So later on, as I began to travel around the world, particularly to temperate regions, I began to see people drinking a lot of tea. They are always drinking tea or they are drinking coffee, and I kept wondering, why are they always drinking something, all the time? And I found out that, well, the weather mandated it, particularly during winter months. To keep themselves warm, they had to be sipping on very hot tea all of the time. Well, so it was serving a purpose. But then, little did I know that there were several types of teas, scores and scores of different types of teas, each one with its own peculiar benefits, particularly health benefits. It was not until I began to understand and to know the health benefits of teas before I started indulging in teas again. Now I am a tea person. So if the weather is cold, I take it hot. If the weather is warm, I can actually brew the tea and, make it cool down or even refrigerate it to make something like iced tea, as it were. But my own iced tea is not necessarily the iced tea that you buy in a carton in the supermarket, not store-bought iced tea, but the ones that I make. Any type of tea that I brew and I ice it, put it in the fridge to cool down, that is my own brand of iced tea. All right, so tea is a popular beverage made from the leaves of the plant known as Camellia sinensis. That's the botanical name of the plant that is used to make tea. And it is prepared and processed in different ways to make different types of teas. As you begin to, dive into this conversation, you begin to understand why they call some black tea, why they call some green tea, some, oolong tea and all of that. So there are several types of tea, each with distinct characteristics, distinct flavors, and distinct health benefits. And as you begin to understand and you begin to know the health benefits of teas, I bet you too will join the bandwagon and begin to drink teas, particularly the ones that may be related to the particular condition that you're either dealing with or that you want to prevent from happening to you. Okay? People have been making infusions and teas from herbs and plants for many hundreds of years, probably thousands of years. Now, so while tea can offer various health benefits, it's important, however, to consume it in moderation and be mindful of individual sensitivities, particularly sensitivity to caffeine, because some of the teas actually have caffeine in them, and some of them are caffeine-free, all right? And some of those that traditionally have caffeine in them may also be decaffeinated so that the end product, the finished product, actually becomes caffeine-free. Sometimes the process of decaffeinating teas, utilizes substances and chemicals to do the decaffeination, which now contaminates the tea. So sometimes not all decaffeinated teas are okay. I did, some episodes of Exposé on that, on decaffeinated teas and coffees and some of the downsides to that. So you may want to go back to those episodes when I was dealing with the Dirty Dozen and the Gang of Five. We were looking at, toxic metals and microplastics and all those toxins that can come into our body through what we consume, whether what we eat or what we drink or what we inhale or what makes contact to our skin. Okay? So additionally, the health benefits of tea can be influenced, by other factors such as your overall diet, your lifestyle, your individual health conditions. Now, so before you try any new tea that you have never tried before, I suggest that you do your studies and research to be sure that it's going to be very compatible with you and beneficial for you. And if you need help, always feel free to consult a healthcare provider or people who have information, who know very well about teas, so that you can, be well advised, particularly if you have specific health concerns. And also nursing mothers and pregnant women also need to be very careful before they consume certain teas. And some people who also are aiming to get pregnant, to make babies, also need to be well advised if you want to get pregnant, to avoid certain teas that are contraindicated. Okay, for example, when I was dealing with hibiscus tea in a previous episode, I did mention that it is contraindicated if you want to get pregnant because it can cause implantation failure. All right, when the egg is fertilized in the fallopian tube and it goes down into the womb to be implanted there for the fetus to start growing. If you take hibiscus tea at that time, it may affect the implantation and the baby fertilized egg may just drop and you won't even know that you have miscarried, so to speak. So be well advised before you start indulging in any type of tea. Make sure you know the benefits of the tea and the contraindications for the tea, and then enjoy the tea. So we're dealing with teas and spices. So we're going to be starting with teas. So that will be part A. And then when we're done with teas, then we'll go to part B, which will be spices. Of course, when I was dealing with the health benefits of certain herbs, I already covered a lot of spices. When I was also dealing with fermented foods, I also covered a lot of spices, particularly West African spices or Nigerian spices like Iru, like Ogiri, and so on and so forth. I already covered all of those at that time. So I may not be touching on those I have already covered, but I'll be introducing some additional spices in this particular series. So we start with part A, teas. Now, we're going to be looking at many primary types of tea and their associated health benefits. You'll be shocked to know that there are so many types of teas. And I'm going to be discussing nothing less than 40 to 50 different types of teas. You'll be amazed to discover them. All right? It was in the course of my studies and research and what have you that even I discovered some teas I had never heard before. I had to dig in to find out, okay, where is this tea available? Which parts of the world? What are the health benefits? What are the contraindications and all of that? I had to research and research and research. So here is the fruit of my hard work and labor. I expect you to give me thumbs up right now. Okay, so let's start with one that is so very popular nowadays, because I hear many people say, oh, I drink green tea. Now I drink green tea. So the first tea we're talking about today is green tea. And I promise you, green tea is loaded. Green tea is packed with so many health benefits, okay? Now, green tea is made from unoxidized tea leaves. You know, I mentioned the plant that is used to make tea. Now, the leaves are not allowed to oxidize. That's why it remains its color green. Now, when it comes to black tea, when we get there, you find out that the process of making that same plant leaf into black tea goes through a process of oxidation. And that's why it turns from green to black. But green tea is made from unoxidized tea leaves. It is minimally processed. So it has a very fresh and grassy flavor. You know, I was at an event recently in Lagos, Nigeria, and a professor was the chairman of that event. I was one of the keynote speakers at that event, and I was sitting right next to the prof, the chairman, and they served us, you know, lemongrass tea on the high table there. And as the prof tasted the lemongrass tea, he turned to me and said, this thing tastes like grass. And then he said, in Yoruba language, it tastes like agbo. I laughed, you know. Yeah, green tea has a fresh, grassy flavor. It can taste like grass. That's because it has not been allowed to go through oxidation process. It is unoxidized tea leaves. And it has many health benefits. Number one, it is rich in antioxidants. And you know the work of antioxidants, okay? Antioxidants, you know, they help to fight free radicals. Now, free radicals are, let me use a common Nigerian parlance. They are area boys, social miscreants, as it were, in the body. So, free radicals can be generated within our body. Free radicals can also come from outside our body into the body. For example, you are driving in a car and there is, you know, a truck, you know, all those buses, yellow buses in Lagos, in Nigeria, that we call Molwe, or sometimes Danfo. Those buses, you know, sometimes they are emitting a lot of fumes and smoke, all right? And you are driving right behind them. Your windows are not wound up. Your AC is not on. The fumes get into your car. You inhale it. Those are free radicals entering your body. And they cause what we call oxidative damage. They can accelerate the aging process. They can even go as far as damaging DNA in cells and setting the stage, or, you know, triggering a process that can lead to disease, even cancer. Okay? Those are free radicals. That's why God, in his infinite mercies and graciousness, has given us herbs, fruits, vegetables, particularly fruits that are loaded with what we call antioxidants in this part of the world, antioxidant in North America, USA, Canada, and what have you. They call it antioxidant. We call it antioxidants. So these antioxidants help to neutralize the free radicals that we are being exposed to, so they don't cause any damage in our body or lay the foundation for disease. So your diet, if you're health conscious, must be rich in substances, whether foods or drinks, that are rich in antioxidants. And certain vitamins serve as antioxidants, like vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E. These are antioxidant vitamins. Then a mineral like selenium is also an antioxidant mineral. they all help to neutralize free radicals. Now in green tea in particular is loaded with antioxidants to help you to neutralize the ravaging and damaging effect of free radicals. And the antioxidants in green tea, particularly catechins like EGCG. In fact, EGCG is now being extracted from green tea and formulated into capsules, supplements that people can just buy and take so that you load your body with a lot of those wonderful catechins, EGCG, which may reduce the risk of chronic disease at the end of the day. Now, green tea is also rich in substances to boost metabolism and promote fat loss. So that will lead to weight loss for those who want to lose weight. It boosts your metabolism. The rate at which you burn calories will be further boosted or bolstered, enhanced, so that you can burn fat very quickly and you don't just lay off fat and be gaining weight to become, overweight or obese. That's another benefit you get from drinking green tea regularly. You get antioxidant benefits, and then it revs up your metabolism to help you to burn fat or burn calories, so it leads to fat loss and weight loss. It may also improve brain function. Green tea, yeah? It can improve brain function. It can reduce the risk of neurodegenerative diseases. Now, neurodegenerative diseases are diseases that happen because of the degeneration of the central nervous system in particular, the brain, the spinal cord, and what have you, particularly the brain. Neurodegenerative diseases will include things like Alzheimer's disease, things like Parkinson's disease, all the dementias, okay? Those are neurodegenerative diseases. Green tea can help to reduce your risk of developing those neurodegenerative diseases. Green tea also supports heart health. It also helps to lower bad cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, okay? So it also improves blood vessel function. So it supports cardiovascular health, okay? Just as it supports the central nervous system, it also supports the cardiovascular system. Now, it also helps to lower the risk of several diseases, okay? Not just neurodegenerative diseases, not just cancers. Several different types of diseases can be the risk of an individual to those diseases can be reduced. Of course, like I said in the beginning, you cannot just be living your life carelessly and be carefree as far as your diet, your lifestyle are concerned, and then just tell yourself, oh, I will drink green tea so that I won't develop those diseases. No, it's a complete combo. Green tea is just one part of the puzzle, okay? So your diet must be good, your lifestyle must be good, and when you now drink green tea, again, on top of that, then they all work synergistically to help protect you from coming down with those cardiovascular problems, those chronic degenerative conditions, and those neurodegenerative diseases, as well as the ravaging and damaging effect of free radicals. So this is where I am going to pause for a while as we go on a short break. When we come back, we will take yet another set of teas. The first one we have discussed so far is green tea. And I hope from now on, you will start sipping your green tea very well. And when you take your green tea, by the way, I suggest you don't add milk and you don't add sugar. You can find other types of sweeteners to add to it, maybe honey, not adulterated honey, by the way. Original, unadulterated honey, or maybe date, or maybe stevia for those who are diabetic, or maybe grade A maple syrup. Those are good kind of sweeteners that you can use to sweeten your tea, or you can just take it plain without sweetening it. It will still deliver all the wonderful benefits to you. I'll be back very shortly. Don't go away.
Meet Emily. She's passionate about living a healthy life, but finds it difficult to access information on health and wellness.
Cancer is survivable.
That is until she discovered the online healthy living training offered by Reverend Tony Akinyemi on lms.rafainstitute.org. The online healthy living training program is a comprehensive interactive course that covers topics such as nutrition, fitness, stress management, and mental health. The course is designed to provide participants with practical tips and strategies to improve their health and well-being. Emily is now equipped with the knowledge and skills she needs to lead a healthy life. Join Emily and countless others in living a healthy life by signing up for the online healthy living training program today.
Welcome back. I am still here. Tony Akinyemi is my name, and this is still Exposé with Tony Akinyemi. In this second half of today's episode, we continue our conversation on teas and spices. And we are in part A. We're talking about teas first and foremost. We have laid the foundation for this conversation, and we have looked at the first tea on our list of discussion, and that is green tea, and the many benefits, wonderful health benefits derivable from regular, moderate consumption of green tea, that you do not, let me use the word, contaminate with sugar or cow milk, but you take it plain, or maybe sweeten it with acceptable sweeteners like stevia, like date, like honey, and maybe grade maple syrup. All right, so we move on to the second type of tea on our list. I told you we're going to be discussing 40 to 50 types of tea. Okay, the second one is black tea. Most of us are familiar with that. That's the tea we grew up to know. Maybe the most popular brand that I grew up to know in that category is Lipton tea. Lipton tea is essentially black tea. Even though nowadays the company Lipton now makes even green tea as well. They also make even hibiscus flower tea. I saw hibiscus flower tea by Lipton in a supermarket not too long ago. So, but the one that made Lipton very popular as a company is the black tea, which is the popular Lipton tea. Okay, in those days, when we were children, they would make those teas for us and put a lot of sugar, a lot of milk, and they would give us bread. When I was growing up in Ghana, there was a particular bread that they used to make, and they used to call it tea bread. I don't know if they still make it in Ghana till today, but when we were children growing up in Ghana, this particular brand of bread was made and called tea bread. They added no sugar to the bread. It was almost sugar-free, so it wasn't that sugary or sweet to taste. So what we used to do in those days, in the 1960s, they would make this black tea for us with sugar and milk, and then they would give us that tea bread, and you dip the bread into the tea, and you ate it. Wow. The kind of background that I had, many of you won't believe it. Very poor background, but then we thank God here we are today. So that was my first introduction to black tea. Now, black tea is fully oxidized. You know, the leaves of the tea leaves is fully oxidized, unlike green tea that is unoxidized. And it is that oxidation that gives it a darker color and a stronger flavor compared to green tea. It's the same leaf that they used to make black tea that is also used to make green tea. The difference is that green tea is minimally processed, unoxidized, whereas black tea is fully processed, fully oxidized, and so the flavor is concentrated, is stronger, you know, and the color is darker compared to, in fact, it loses the green color altogether and becomes almost black. Okay. But black tea also offers some health benefits. It also contains flavonoids that support heart health and may lower blood pressure. The only thing is that because of the concentration of the ingredients in the process of processing it into black tea, the caffeine content is higher than that of green tea, okay? So if you are running away from caffeine, then black tea is not for you, okay? You can just go for green tea with very mild caffeine content, all right? But black tea also contains flavonoids, and this supports heart health and may help to lower blood pressure. But if you are not a fan of caffeine, maybe caffeine affects you, doesn't make you to sleep well when you drink it, then black tea is not for you. Your blood pressure may actually go up. If you drink it and the caffeine does not allow you to sleep, then your BP will shoot up. So you need to stay away from it. Now, black tea may also improve gut health. That's the health of our digestive tract. It can promote, the growth of beneficial gut bacteria, friendly bacteria. I discussed that a lot when we were talking about fermented foods. I spoke about friendly flora, as friendly bacteria, as opposed to disease-causing or pathogenic bacteria. And I discussed at that time that the ratio of friendly bacteria to disease-causing bacteria in our GI tract, or probably in our body altogether, should be approximately ratio 80 to 20. That's ratio 4 to 1, if you like. 80% of our intestinal flora should be good bacteria, or friendly flora. And not more than 20% should be made up of the disease-causing type, so that the friendly bacteria are in the majority, and they take charge and take control of our gut rather than the disease-causing ones. If there's a shift in that ratio, then there is an imbalance. And that imbalance, medically speaking, is called dysbiosis. And once there is dysbiosis, there will be all kinds of digestive tract problems. Okay? So black tea has been found to help to promote the growth of the friendly bacteria, to improve our gut microbiome, and consequently improve our gut health. Okay? Black tea can also enhance mental alertness and focus, probably due to the caffeine content. It's like I told you, when I was in high school, I indulged in a lot of black coffee. I would just buy, Nescafe, a tin of Nescafe coffee, and I'll finish it in a week. I just make very strong black tea, no sugar, no milk. Sometimes even cold water. I just put it in cold water, I mix it, and I drink a warm. And I will sit down and read through the night till about 4 a.m. before I go to bed. Honestly, I abused myself in those days. I wanted to make all A's in all my subjects. Well, God helped me. I was able to make all A's. I sat for 8 subjects in my West African Examination Council WAEC exam. Okay, and I made A's in all the 8 subjects. Glory be to God. But I abused coffee. I read. Sometimes I'll put water in a bowl and I'll put my feet in cold water so as to keep myself awake. I wanted to be alert. Of course, as a young man in my late teens to early 20s, I graduated high school at the age of 21, by the way. Like I normally joke to people, I went to high school as an uncle. I came out of a very, very poor background. I normally also joke that even poor people called us poor. We were so poor. When I left elementary school, primary school, I graduated grade A and the best in my school, but I couldn't proceed to high school because my parents were so poor they couldn't sponsor me to high school, and there was no free education in Nigeria. And even up until now, there is no free education so far. All right, so I had to go work at the age of 12. I left elementary school at the age of 12, and I went out to work, to look for a job, and work for 4 years. So I was 16 when I finally decided I was going back to school. And I enrolled in high school at the age of 16. And I spent 5 years in those days, unlike these days where it is now 6 years. In those days, it was 5 years, from 1 to from 5. So by the time I left high school, I was already 21. Okay, so when I was 18, 19, 20, That was when I was really doing this coffee abuse. And I was studying. I mean, I told myself, if I came to school as an uncle, I shouldn't be scoring C's and B's. I should be scoring A's. And God helped me with my discipline and focus, and the grace of God made available to me. I was able to, focus and concentrate on my studies. And by the grace of God, I did well. Okay? Now, so black tea can enhance mental alertness and focus. And some studies also suggest that black tea may actually reduce the risk of stroke. Well, that's something that is worth further researching and studying to get to know the veracity of that claim, that it may help to reduce the risk of stroke. Now, the third tea that we'll be talking about is oolong tea. Can you say that after me? Oolong tea. It is pronounced oolong, as if there is a W at the beginning of that word, but there's no W there. The spelling is actually O-O-L-O-N-G, or as we spell it here in Nigeria, O-O-L-O-N-G. The word long, you now precede it with double O, O-O-L-O-N-G. But when you're pronouncing it, you pronounce it as if it is W-U-L-O-N-G. It is pronounced oolong. Okay? So our third tea for this conversation is oolong tea. Now, oolong tea is partially oxidized. Now, don't forget where we started from. Green tea is completely unoxidized. Black tea is fully oxidized. And oolong tea now stands somewhere in between the unoxidized and the fully oxidized, in that oolong tea is partially oxidized. So it falls between green tea and black tea in terms of flavor and color. What distinguishes one from the other is the extent of processing. So I would say that green tea is minimally processed. Oolong tea is, partially processed or mid-processing, and black tea is fully processed. But they are all made from the same tea leaves. And so what are the health benefits of oolong tea? Number one, it may aid in weight management by increasing metabolism, just like green tea as well. Number two, it is also very high in antioxidants that may support heart health and may reduce even the risk of certain cancers, because free radicals happen to be one of the factors responsible for the causation of cancers. When a free radical damages the DNA of a cell and the body was unable to fix that damage, then that damaged cell may start replicating and form a tumor. And before you know it, cancer has started in the body, caused by free radicals. So anything that can neutralize free radicals can help to reduce the risk of certain cancers. And so, because these teas, whether it's green tea or black tea or oolong tea, because of their high antioxidant content, they all can support, cardiovascular health. They can support prevention of oxidative damage, and they can reduce. They may not 100% prevent, but they reduce the risk of certain cancers. Now, oolong tea may also improve skin health, and it can reduce the risk of eczema. Oolong tea can provide, can help in reducing inflammation. Again, several types of diseases have inflammation as a component. One of the things that cause that disease, inflammation. Arthritis has a lot of inflammation involved, for example. Fibroid, cancer, these are all inflammatory diseases. Okay, so oolong tea has anti-inflammatory properties to reduce inflammation in the body. It can also lower cholesterol, can help to lower cholesterol, and then it can support digestive health and reduce bloating so that you don't feel bloated because your food is now properly digested. Therefore, you are saved from feeling this this bloating that some people feel due to indigestion or poor digestion, due to fermentation of food, putrefaction of food, or rancidity of food in their GI tract because of a very long transit time from the time food is eaten and the time that the waste product is coming out through the anus. All right, so this is how far time permits us to go today. At least we've covered 3 different types of teas. We've looked at green tea, we've looked at black tea, and we've looked at oolong tea. Okay, by the grace of God, next week, we will take yet another batch until we reach between 40 and 50 types of teas. So, meantime, before next week, I want you to enjoy any of these teas. Go and get either green tea or oolong tea in particular. Green tea, oolong tea. The black tea, like I said, is the one that is fully processed, fully oxidized. Okay, so it has the highest caffeine content. So I am not a fan of black tea, but I'm a fan of green tea and occasionally oolong tea. And when you taste those teas, okay, next week when you join Exposé, I want you to, put your comments in the chat room. Give me feedback. Let me know what you think in terms of taste, in terms of flavor, in terms of, well, in 1 week, you may not see the benefits, so you may not be able to give feedback as far as the benefit is concerned. But in case you experience any benefit within 1 week, please go ahead and share it as well. Now, I want you to please engage me in the chat room properly during every episode of Exposé. Pass comments in the chat room, okay? Give us your feedback. And there is this thumbs up, symbol that is there at the base of your screen. Always give us a thumbs up if you think what we're sharing with you is beneficial to you. And share this video with your friends, with your colleagues, with your family members. Let everybody get exposed to information and knowledge. But what we need is not more medication, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge. Thank you once again for spending your beautiful Monday evening with me on Exposé with Tony Akinyemi. We're almost midway into the month of May, and we thank God that He's again navigating us along gloriously. And I pray that you will get to the end of this month with fantastic and excellent testimonies that will blow people's minds when they hear it. You are blessed all the way. The rest of your week is rich and testimony filled to the glory of God. See you next week. Same platform, same time. God bless you. I love you all.
Meet Emily. She's passionate about living a healthy life, but finds it difficult to access information on health and wellness.
Cancer is survivable.
That is until she discovered the online healthy living training offered by Reverend Tony Akinyemi on lms.rafainstitute.org. The online healthy living training program is a comprehensive interactive course that covers topics such as nutrition, fitness, stress management, and mental health. The course is designed to provide participants with practical tips and strategies to improve their health and well-being. Emily is now equipped with the knowledge and skills she needs to lead a healthy life. Join Emily and countless others in living a healthy life by signing up for the online healthy living training program today.